part 4 of my Pokemon region, the Celestial region. Today I'll be going over more selected Pokemon, and I strongly recommend, if you have not seen part 1, 2, and 3, you head over and watch that first before this video. And if you're not subscribed, smash that subscription button and that like button, because I have seen that only 80% of viewers are subscribed. So please help me out with that and enjoy. So first off is Motio, the motor Pokemon. Motio's ears are also used as wheels when they are moved. So Motio is a steel and ground type, and its ears with wheels, they look like wheels, they actually bend down and can go on the ground. So it's a basic Pokemon. It's the first stage, and it's just like a driving Pokemon, so I think that's pretty cool. And it evolves into Molteno, the tech Pokemon. Molteno can morph, so its hands turn into wheels. I know that's weird, in the hand there's nothing on its body that has resemblance to wheels, but I like its design, and it just seems like it's a tech Pokemon, so I love it. And it's not as good as Molteo, but it has a resemblance, and it evolves into Melplanio, the plane Pokemon. So Melplanio uses its ears as propellers to fly up. So this one is a steel and flying type instead of steel and ground. And even though those look like ears that's just straight, those are actually horns. And then the propeller that you can actually see is the propeller, the ears that are propellers. So there's another one, but you can't see it because of the way the Pokemon's positioned. So this Pokemon is just great. It's a plane, and instead of a car, it's a plane, so it's a flying type. So next up is Joltak, the Screech Pokemon. Joltak charges electricity as it runs. So it's kind of like, it's all based on this wild charge attack, and it just gains electricity without having to do anything. So it's kind of like a charge battery Pokemon, and it kind of has a resemblance to Jolteon. So it's electric type, obviously, and it evolves into Zapsple, the roaring Pokemon. Zapsple isn't afraid to charge at people. So Zapsple is a very fierce Pokemon, and very strong electricity and just strong in general. It's a very fierce Pokemon that you should be afraid of. That's basically it. Next up is Ooblat. So for this, this is literally the exact copy of a Panpour, Pansage, and Pansear, because I literally just did that with monkeys. So I have a water one, a fire one, and a grass one, and they're all monkeys. So I asked people what I should do for this, and they told me monkeys. So here we are with a ripoff. So Ooblat, the bubble Pokemon. Ooblat can put itself into the bubble with a flick of a finger. So you see that bubble in its hand? It is always there. It never disappears, can't be popped. It's like a sticky gum bubble. And Ooblat can make it go around it. So it has like a bubble protection, and it can't get hurt with it around it because it's a sticky bubble, not a bubble that pops. Ooblat evolves into Babilo, the wheeler Pokemon. So Babilo uses bubbles like a unicycle wheel. So if you've ever seen Avatar the Airbender, I thought of this because of that thing that he does where he puts like an air bubble under him and like just acts as if it's like a wheel. So that's basically what Babilo does. It's just a crazy little Pokemon, water type obviously, and the evolved form of Ooblat. And it's just that cool monkeying around Pokemon. So for the fire one, I have Flamaha, the flare Pokemon. Flamaha can catch itself on fire without anything happening. So it's completely resistant to fire. So it just like kind of similar to how Ublot puts itself in a bubble, Flemaha can put itself in a bunch of fire. So that's just unique, interesting. I put it so they had the same abilities, and Flemaha evolves into Flamillo, the burning Pokemon. Flamillo has enough power to fly from its firepower. So if you've ever seen a thing where they like have some sort of electricity or fire or water, and then they just start flying by the power of it coming out of your hands, that's what this is. So no, it's not a flying type, it's just fire, but it can fly, but it also can't do any attacks while it's flying or else it'll fall. So that's how it's not too powerful but not too weak. So next is a Vinaha, the vine Pokemon. Vinaha can use vines to make itself look taller. So again, it has something under it. It has it can like it either has something under it or around it that makes it more OP, I guess. So it's the grass one, and it just can use vines as like extra long legs, which can be useful, probably not in a battle, but it's an interesting story. So Vinaha evolves into Vanillo, the IV Pokemon. So Vanillo is basically just completely a plant monkey. So Vanillo makes sprouts of IV to grab onto others, so its hands can just stretch out really far. Like it could stretch out its hands so it would come back to itself from the other side of the universe. So it's got 2 tails, and it's just a very stretchy Pokemon, I guess. Sort of like the Bellsprout when when Ash battled that Bellsprout, in the Kanto region. I don't remember it that well, but that's what this is based off. So these are all based off of other things. Next is Smirkly, and as you can see, it's the Smirk Pokemon that is smirking. It's a hedgehog, and Smirkly is always up to mischief, despite its look. So, fairy type, even though it's an evil Pokemon. No matter what Smirkly it is, it's always evil. That's basically all there is about it. Even though it has the hedgehog spikes, they are not spiky. They just are kind of like fur, so that is not helping it. It's a pretty weak Pokemon, which is basically all about it. It evolves into Spygoro, who becomes responsible. As Spygoro evolves, it becomes very protective and responsible Pokemon. Also a fairy type, also not very powerful, and it's basically the exact same as its pre-evolution, except bigger and slightly more powerful. So that's basically it about Spygoro. Next up is Shmish. So Shmish is the fishy Pokemon. Shmish makes a sweet noise when it wags its tail to swim. And guess what the noise is? Shmish, shmish. So it's a water type, and I only put this because I felt like I had a bunch of water types, but I didn't have any actual fish water types, and every region has them. So I put Shmish in for that. Shmish evolves into Squinish, the walker Pokemon. Squinish can balance on its 2 feet. So it has hands basically that are flippers in water but hands on land, and it gains the grass type, and it basically just walks on them, and the rest, and if one of those legs were injured, or hands, legs, whatever they are, it wouldn't be able to walk on land. So if this were a human, it has very good ab strength. And it evolves into Squalsher, who is the landlubber Pokemon. Even though it's a water type, it thrives in a swamp due to being grass and water type. So it has 4 legs, and it can walk easily now, but it also swims very easily. So it's got that 2 typing of different land features advantage. And that's basically all about it. Next is Starelli, the star Pokemon. Starelli likes to be the star of the crowd. I love the design of Starly, and I love how it looks. It's just one of my favorites for sure, and it kind of seems like it could have been at the beginning of the region. It could have been like replacing Rattata or Sentret, but clearly it's not. It's number 70, so it's just here, and then it evolves into Starelli, the tranquilizer Pokemon. Starelli acts like a charming Pokemon, but is really mischievous. So I've got a lot of mischievous Pokemon, and Starelli gains the fighting type when it evolves. And I also love the design of this Pokemon, and it's a raccoon-fox hybrid thing, and I just love it. Next up is Zolgot, the bot Pokemon. Zolgot is a robot Pokemon made to help the government. It's a steel type, and this is based off of how there's this stupid thing that people say that they believe that birds are robots sent to spy on us from the government. So this is kind of based on that, and it's just a funny Pokemon that's just a bird robot. And that's it. And this is the end of part 4 of my Pokemon region. I hope you have enjoyed all my videos so far, and if you haven't watched one of the previous videos, I highly recommend it. This is my Pokemon region, the Celestial region, made out of II, and I hope you have enjoyed. Goodbye.